Straight all day.
You are now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. That is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques, all underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is the only 3 ways to increase revenue in your business. I will tell you what those 3 ways are. I will explain what each one of them is and what they entail. But before I do any of that, let me tell everyone that I have a daily motivation text message that I send out free of charge to everyone who is in my text community. This message is guaranteed to keep you focused, sharp, and on point. So if you're a person who wants to be focused, sharp, and on point every day, all you got to do is text me so you're getting that daily motivation every morning. My number is 305-384-6894. Just text me right now. And tomorrow morning when I send out the daily motivation, since you are in my text community, and only because of that, you will be receiving the daily motivation message. Second thing, if you have not yet claimed your free copy of my book called The Third Day, which is the decision that separates the pros from the amateurs, that's the subtitle of the book, you go get your free copy of that book. Claim your copy by going to thirddaybook.com. The book is completely free. All you're going to do is cover the shipping, and we will ship a physical copy of that book to your doorstep right now. Just go to thirddaybook.com and just tell us where to send the book. Third thing, those of you who are interested in increasing the revenue in your business, I'm about to tell you the only 3 ways to do it. I'm going to tell you the systems and the processes that go underneath these 3 ways in a free training that I did. It is available right now for anyone who is interested. Just go to workonyourgame.net. That training is completely free. It's 45 minutes, so all I'm asking for is your time and attention. Go to workonyourgame.net. I gave that training completely free. Again, put aside 45 minutes to watch that training because you need to look at it, not only listen to it. Now, with all that said, getting into today's topic. A few days ago, I did an episode on who you serve and how do you serve them. Just about, I think 3 days ago, 3 episodes ago, that was that episode. And I told you that the basic outcome that most people want in business is they simply want to make more money. Now, you may have different methods by which you feel like you need to go about that. So some people might say, well, Dre, I need to be more focused. Some people might say, I need to create new or better products. Someone might say, I need to raise my prices. Someone else might say, I need to be more disciplined. Or someone else may say, well, I just need to get a better job. Or I need to be more motivated. We all may have different methods by which we want to do it. But if you are in business, then the ultimate outcome of business is to make money. The purpose of us being in business is to make money. You are in the money-making business. Even if you are not driven by money, you are still in the business of making money. So, since what anyone in business wants is to make more money from their stuff, even though, again, you may want to do other things too, money's the main reason we do stuff in business. So let's talk about the only 3 ways to make more money in business, because if you're doing this, then all those other things are subservient to making a dollar. So regardless of who you are or who you serve, let's talk about the only 3 ways you can increase the revenue in your business. So if you're trying to be more motivated, more focused, have more leads, get better products, raise your prices, put together more products, get better at selling, get better at cold calling people, get better at conversations, serve your customers better. All of those things go under the umbrella of one of these 3 things I'm going to say here today. So all of those things that I just listed, those are all sub-abilities that serve the main 3 ways that you increase revenue in business. So everybody with me here? Let's get into it. Point number 1. Today's topic, once again, the only 3 ways to increase revenue in your business. Number 1 is to get more customers. This is the first way, and this is usually the first thing people think about when they think about how do I make more money in my business. The first thing people usually think is, let me get more people who will actually buy my thing, whatever the thing is that you're selling. So get more people. Get people to buy more stuff, get more people, get more customers. That's what this is. This is the simplest, it's the most basic, and it's usually the first and last thing people think about when they think of making more money. So how do I get more people to know that I have this book or this course or this coaching program or this widget or this whatever it is that you're selling? How do I get more people to sign up for it and buy it? I was talking to someone recently who had they want to get into some form of training space. Actually, I talk to a lot of people who want to get into training space. So that whether they're training people how to do a certain thing, whether they're training people when it comes to their fitness, whether they're training people on a certain mentality, they're training people on a certain skill, like doing something in real estate. And a lot of people say, all right, well, I'm going to sell my thing. To get my training, it costs this much money, and I want to make this much, so they just do a multiple. In order for me, if I'm selling my training for $100 a month, and I want to make $10,000 a month, well, how many people is that? Well, 10 people is 1,000. Another 10, multiply that by another 10. So you need 100 people paying you $100 a month. That gets you $10,000 a month. This is the way that most people look at how am I going to make more money. They just figure out how much they want to charge for one, and then they just multiply that by, or they divide it by the amount of money that they want to make and say, all right, I just need to get this number of people. Now, I'm not here to tell you that that's wrong, because math is math, and that is actually correct. So let's just say if you, for example, want to make $20,000 a month and you have a product that costs $500, you need to sell 40 products a month to make $20,000 a month. If this is the only way that you're making money. 40 sales at $500 a piece equals $20,000. So if right now you've made 2 sales a month, so you're making $1,000 a month, you need to multiply that by another 20 in order for you to make your $20,000 a month. This is the simplest way that most people think of in order to make more money in their business. And again, it is not wrong. Your math is accurate. Here's the challenge with this. Although this is a logical and good question of how do I get more customers, it's a good question to ask yourself how to get more customers. Nothing wrong with getting more customers. All right, I run advertisement. One of the reasons that I run advertisements is because I want more people to buy my stuff. Some of you listen to this show and you listen, you consume, but you have never bought anything. It is my goal to get you to buy something even though you haven't bought anything yet. My goal is to convert you from a listener to a buyer. And if you click on one of my ads, my goal, even if you don't buy when you first click on the ad, I'm going to keep following up with you until you buy. So I want to get more customers. So it's nothing wrong with wanting to get more customers, okay? Everybody clear? Let me tell you the challenge with this though, even though this is a good question. Getting more people to buy your stuff, getting more customers, this is actually the hardest and most costly way to make more money in business. Yes, you heard me correctly. The hardest, most costly way to make more money in business is getting more customers. And remember, we're only on point number 1. So on points number 2 and 3, I'm going to tell you easier and faster ways to make more money. Any of you who has been in business for any amount of time, especially those of you who are on the sales side of your business, you're actually involved in the selling and creation of the things that get sold, or you're the person who's having the conversations about the things that get sold. The most expensive customer to acquire is what? What's the most expensive customer to acquire, salespeople? The new customer. The hardest customer to acquire is the brand new customer, meaning the person who has never bought from you before and they're buying from you for the first time. This is the hardest person to get as a customer. Because what you're doing when you get a brand new customer is you're literally going out and finding people who have never given you money before, and you're trying to get them from giving you no money to giving you some money. You're trying to get them to make the jump from $0 to $1. And I told you in episode number 2120, the biggest jump in business is from $0 to $1. That is the biggest jump in business. The biggest jump is not from 100,000 to $1 million, or $1 to 1,000, or $100 to 10,000. The biggest jump is from 0 to 1. Why is this the biggest jump? Because this is when you're getting someone to go from not pulling out their credit card, not pulling out their wallet or checkbook, to actually pulling out their credit card, wallet, or checkbook. And that emotional decision is the biggest jump that anyone will make in business. Because once they already have their credit card out, it's much easier to buy another thing at whatever price once they've already made a decision to spend money with you. But if they've never made a decision to spend money with you, getting them to go from not making one to making one, that's like crossing a river. All right, crossing that river is the hardest thing that you get people to do. I'm not saying you shouldn't try to do it. I just told you that I try to do it, and we all try to do it every single day. But it's the hardest way to make $1, is to get people to cross that river from 0 to $1. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just telling you it's the hardest way. I'm going to tell you some easier ways as we get further into this conversation. Because when you're doing this, again, you're trying to get people to make a decision that they never made before, which is give money to you. The hardest dollar to get out of a person is the first dollar. That's why in the marketing world, we have what we call the value ladder. Those of you who are unfamiliar with the concept of the value ladder, that's okay, because I'm about to educate you as to what it is. The value ladder means simply you get someone to come into your world through whatever way they come into your world, and then you offer them incrementally more value in exchange for more money. So for example, you can come into my world and you can, let's just start with things that cost money. All right, so let's leave out the podcast and text messages. Let's just start with things that cost money. So you can pay $9.95 for shipping and get your free copy of my book, The Third Day, which I already told you about, which if you listen to the show, everybody should have a copy of The Third Day. So go to thirddaybook.com. You're going to pay $9.95 for the shipping, and I'm going to ship you the book. All right, so now you have made a buying decision. Even though all you bought was the shipping, I gave you the book for free, but you pulled out your credit card and you paid $9.95. So now you have crossed the river, but you only made a small $9.95 commitment. Now I'm going to make you more offers moving forward to invest more money into yourself, and I'm going to give you more value in exchange for more money. So now after you make that decision, you get the third day, before you even get done with your transaction, I'm going to offer you the Bulletproof Bundle, which is 4 more books for, I don't know how much I offer that. I believe it's $39. All right, for $39 more, I'll give you 4 more books, the Bulletproof Bundle. So now instead of 1 book, you have 5. And by the way, if you come into that funnel and I offer you a bundle of books, you should say yes, because what human being on this planet just reads 1 book and then they don't read anything else? So if you're going to read 1 of my books, you might as well read 5 of my books. So might as well get them all at the same time, because I'm going to give you the best possible deal. So then I'm going to offer you those 4 books of the Bulletproof Bundle for another $39. Then on the next page, I'm going to offer you 4 more books, the Mental Game Super Duper Bundle, where I have the Mental Workbook, 30 Days of Discipline, Bulletproof Mindset, and Work on Your Game. I'm going to offer you all 4 of those books for another $97, because again, who reads just 5 books? Nobody. So you might as well get 4 more books. And then I'll sell you more books later on. That'll be in the transaction today, but I'll sell you more books later on in the future. But I'm offering you more value in exchange for you investing more money into yourself. So that's me moving you up the value ladder. But those are just books. Then I may offer you courses. Then I'm going to tell you, get on a call with me and let's talk about you working with me in Work on Your Game University. Now I have a coaching program. So I'm always moving people up higher and higher on the value ladder. But you got to get somebody to get on the ladder first to move them up the ladder. All right, someone can't move up the ladder until they get on the ladder. All right, so you start with a commitment, whatever commitment people make, and it can be something small. The commitment doesn't have to start with money, by the way. It can start with someone just giving you their email address. A bunch of you get emails from me. Even if you don't buy anything, you still get the emails. Or you get text messages from me, even if you haven't made a purchase. So once they're in your world, wherever it is, you offer them something that's a little bit of a bigger commitment than the one they've already made. Then you offer them a bigger one, a bigger one, and a bigger one. And ideally, people just continue to ascend. And they just say yes to every offer that you make them. Now, is that going to happen with every person? Absolutely not. Does it happen the first time you ask them? Absolutely not. Right? Some of you have it on your list that you're going to get a copy of The Third Day. You just haven't done it yet. That you're going to get the Mental Game Super Duper Bundle. You just haven't bought it yet. That you're going to get on a call with me and talk about coaching. You just haven't gotten around to it yet. You're going to do it. You just haven't done it yet. But I got to stay in touch with you until you're ready to do that. And I need to understand that as a marketer. I have to understand that as a salesperson. Not everybody is ready to move at the exact moment that I make them an offer. Now, ideally, I want to have you ready to move. I want to make you ready to move, but I'm not going to be able to move everyone when I want them to move. You got to be ready to move when you're ready to move. So I just got to be available when you're ready to take action. So that's part of the value add. Understanding not everyone's going to be on the same rung of the ladder, but your ladder has to be available when someone's ready to take that step. Because if it's not ready, or not available rather, when they're ready, then they might go take the step with somebody else. And now you just lost out on the money. So many businesses, not all of them though, operate in this way. They have a value ladder. Make this commitment, then this commitment, then this one, and this one. American Express, for example, they operate by this. So I started out with an American Express one card. I can't remember what it was. Like a basic card, and then the credit limit was a small amount. Then they offered me another card, which was a higher, more privileges card with a bigger amount. Then they offered me another card, more privileges, a bigger amount than that. Then another card, more privileges, a bigger amount than that. Then another one, another one. And they have more cards that I haven't even ascended to yet. Maybe American Express doesn't think I'm worthy of it yet, but they are always offering more and more stuff. So any of you who has a credit card, go to the company that you get your credit card from and look at the offers of the different cards that they have, and you'll notice that they have a bunch of cards at different levels of commitment. In other words, maybe the card might have a yearly fee. The yearly fees may increase. The interest rate may increase depending on what kind of balance you carry. How much credit you can get on the card, those increases, those are based on you, but it's also based on the type of card it is, because certain cards only get you but so much credit, but you got to get a different card to get more credit. And credit card companies do this. They have a value ladder. So you can start with the smallest card that gives you this amount of money and maybe no fee, and the APR is relatively low. Then it gets higher and higher, bigger and bigger fees, bigger and bigger, what's the word? Perks and bonuses that come with it. Maybe this card can get you a seat at a restaurant that nobody can get a seat at. This can get you, front row seats at a sports game. This can get you first class on a flight, some upgrade for free or something like that. But then the yearly fee of the card might be $2,000. But they have a value adder. They're always trying to raise you up the value adder when they see that they think that you are the person who they should sell this to. But they have a system for this. They're not just doing this randomly. So you start with a small commitment, move people up to a bigger commitment. Now, despite the simplicity of this idea, I know I took a good amount of time to explain all that out, but this is a relatively simple idea. Getting someone to come in and make a small commitment to get started with you is harder than it sounds. And any of you who's in sales, you probably have learned this I guess we'll call it the hard way. I mean, it doesn't have to be the hard way, but you learn this. Many salespeople mistakenly believe that if you set a low price for a product, that means a whole bunch more people will buy it. That is not true. This is 100% not true. All right, just because the price of your product is low does not mean a bunch of people will see it as an easy decision and thus you're going to sell a whole bunch of them. I started out selling $4.99 basketball training programs. Just because the product costs $4.99 does not mean everyone who saw it went and bought it. There are people who still didn't buy it even though it was only $4.99. Like my book, The Third Day, I'll give you a free copy, just cover the shipping. Even though you're only covering the shipping, there are people who will look at it and they won't do it. Because even though the price is low. So this is why that jump from $0 to $1 is the biggest jump that people make in business. So you could have people start with, look, there are companies out there who don't have $9.99 offers, 95-cent offers. Look at a car company. All right, they don't sell you a book. All right, the first thing they sell you is a car that costs 20 grand. All right, you can start there if you want to. Understand that the buying decision is the hardest thing that you get people to do. It's not the amount, it's the decision to buy that's the hardest jump in business. And that's getting more people. Each one of those more people has to make a buying decision with you, and that's hard to do. And it's not impossible to do, it's just hard to do. Moving on to point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is the only 3 ways to increase revenue in your business. So the first way is the hardest way, which is getting more people to buy. Here's the second way. And this way is infinitely easier than the first way. Here it is. Getting people to spend more money once they have already made a decision to spend money. Getting people to spend more money when they have already made a decision to spend money. In other words, let me say this in a more simple way, raise your prices. So instead of offering people the $1 offer when they come in, offer them the $10 offer when they come in. Let them spend $10 up front. Instead of starting at $1, just start at $10. Instead of starting at $10, start at $100. Instead of starting at $100, start at $1,000. Instead of starting at $1,000, be like Toyota, start at $18,000 for the car. Right, why you gotta start at $1? You don't have to. I mean, how many $1 sales do you gotta make to make $18,000? Why don't you just start at $18,000? Right? Can you make one $18,000 sale in 2 months? How long would it take you to make 18,000 $1 sales? Longer than you think. So this is a money mindset issue revisited for many people. Because I talked about money mindset in a couple episodes of this show. It was episode number 2214 where I told you how your poor money mindset is keeping you broke. In episode 2321, I talked about healthy money mindsets. Raising your prices is a money mindset issue. Any of you who have an issue with raising your prices, it's a mindset issue. It is not a price issue, it's not a value issue. I talked in episode 1102, raising your prices, the logical and emotional understanding of why. So any of you who have not listened to that episode, please go listen to it. Episode number 272, why you need to raise your prices. Episode number, there's one more I wanted to give you that I just saw it. It was episode number 785, how and when to raise your prices. This is a money mindset issue. This has nothing to do with the value of what you're doing, who you are, where you're from, how much money you got, how much money they got. This is a mindset issue, all of it. This is somewhat of an inverse of the first point. So instead of starting small and thinking that you're going to sell a whole bunch in volume just because you have a low price, which is false, you can find out the hard way if you want to, you can bring people in at a higher price point, or just jump to a higher price point faster, or just simply have higher prices overall. All right, you don't have to have a $5 offer. All right, when I was selling those $5 basketball programs, I could have just been selling $50 basketball programs. I would need much fewer people, but I probably would have made more money. Think about that. You don't have to start at low prices. And again, low prices will not necessarily get you a whole bunch of sales. Don't be fooled into thinking that this is true. Now, when you raise your prices, it will narrow the range of people who you are reaching, because fewer people are going to be interested in something that costs a little bit more money. This is just the law of averages. But at the same time, your revenue will increase, because now you don't need as many people to make the same amount of money. Again, if you are selling a $5 product, you need 20 customers to make $100. But if you sell a $100 product, you need one customer to make $100. Which one is easier, making one sale for $100 or making 20 sales for $5? Many salespeople incorrectly believe that the latter is true. They believe that it's easier to make 20 sales at $5 a piece. I'm telling you, on the contrary, it is not. Because now you got to get 20 different people to make a buying decision. It's much easier to get one person to make a buying decision for more money than it is to get 20 people to make a buying decision for less money. And if you can internalize this money mindset, it will help you a lot when it comes to sales. Any of you who's in sales. So you'll reach fewer people but make more money. Now, all of this, by the way, is contingent on how you set your business up. All right, so don't take this as just because I said it that you should just raise the price on everything that you sell and all of a sudden you're going to make more money. You got to set your business up the right way and set your systems and processes up for this to work. So if you want to make $10,000 a month, you could, if you want to, write a book, charge $10 for the book, and sell 1,000 copies every month of that book, which is a lot of books. All right, how much is 1,000 copies over the course of 30 days in a month? If you had 1,000, you need to sell 1,000 copies in 30 days. It means you need to sell 33 books a day. Let's just say 34 books. Every single day you need to sell 34 books. That's a lot of sales. That's a lot of buying decisions you need to be moving people to. Or, here's another thing you could do. If you want to make $10,000, just create a $10,000 program and make one sale every month. So let's take that same $10,000 and over the course of 30 days, you need to make one sale total. So $10,000 over the course of 30 days. That just means you need to make. Make sure I'm doing my math right here. That means you need to make 0.003 sales per day. That means you need to make 0.3% of a sale every single day. That's all you got to do. You make $10,000. So one day out of the month you need to make a sale, and then the other 29 days you can do nothing. There's your $10,000. Now, which one do you think is easier? You'd be surprised, again, how many people think selling 1,000 copies of a $10 product is easier. It is not. Many people wrongly think that because they think a low price is easier to sell. The opposite is true. Higher prices are easier to sell because you're talking to fewer people, and when you have a higher price, you're usually talking to people who are a little bit more serious and they have more money, so they're not making a money decision, they're making a value decision. Lower price items are harder to sell because there are so many of them and you also have a lot of competition. And because the price is low, so it's easy for people to ignore them. Higher price items narrows your pool of prospects, but you're still asking people to make a buying decision. And people who have that kind of money, they're making the same kind of decisions as people who don't have money. So you might as well play at the higher level. Why not? Remember what I told you in episode number 2121, that 0 to 1 jump. This is hard for many people to grasp. The amount of money that people spend is really inconsequential. Generally speaking, the amount is inconsequential. It's whether they're going to buy or not is the question. Point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is how to increase the revenue in your business. There are 3 ways to do it. So the first way is more people. Second way is charge more money. Here's the third way. And both of these are easier than the first way. Third way is get people to buy more often. Just get people to make more buying decisions more frequently. So this is specifically to people who have already decided to buy from you. Just sell more stuff to them. The people who have already bought from you. So now they're not really making a new buying decision about you because they already know you, like you, and trust you. Assuming that the first thing they bought from you, they got value out of it. It was a good business decision for them. They will buy from you again. This means just making more offers. What is an offer? An offer is me saying to you, I will give you this in exchange for this. I'll give you this product/service in exchange for your money. That's an offer. Make more offers, you will make more sales. And make offers to people who have already bought from you because they already know you. They're easier to sell to than people who don't know you. It'd be easier for me to sell something to somebody who already has bought from me than it is for me to sell to someone who has never bought from me. Now, this requires you having multiple offers, by the way. Now, I know some people who don't have multiple offers, by the way. To make more offers, you got to have multiple products. You got to have multiple services. Now, at the same time, caveat, disclaimer, I know people personally who have made over $1 million selling one product. All they did was follow point number 1. They followed point number 1 and they just figured out how to get more and more customers on one product. So you can't sell one product to the same person over and over again, unless it's a disposable product. Now, if you're selling something like food or lotion or makeup, you can sell the same product to somebody over and over and over and over again because they always have to buy more of it. It's a reusable product. But if you're selling something that's somebody buys it one time, they don't need to buy it again, like a book or a course or a program, now you just got to get more people. That's not more buys, this is more people. I know people who have made over $1 million selling one product over and over again. All they did was follow the first point. But be clear, they had to structure, here's that word again, structure and systematize their business in such a way to make that work, which is not easy. Now, I know other people, on the other hand, who made that same amount of money or even more by having multiple products and simply moving people up their value ladder. So in this ladder group, people who move people up their value ladder, where they have multiple products, and they just move people up over time. So almost all marketers are always, another thing you need to understand, they're always adjusting and editing their value ladders as necessary. So my value ladder 5 years ago is not the same as the value ladder that I have today, and it won't be the same as the value ladder I have 5 years from now. So people's value ladders change over time. American Express, I use them as an example. They change their value ladder over time based on what they're seeing in the marketplace and what they feel their customers need. And they're paying attention to the money, but they have to be paying attention to the money so that they can stay in business. So you're going to be editing your value ladder. What is the next step? What's the next step? What can people come in with? What can I replace this with? Can I do something better than what I'm doing right now at this spot right here? This first rung, maybe I can make them a better offer so I can get more people to come into my world. And it depends on what is your process for nurturing people once they come into your world. So one of my nurturing processes is this show right here. There are a bunch of people who are in my coaching program right now, Work on Your Game University, who listened to this show for weeks and months before they got on a call with me and before they joined my program. Why is that? Because they're gauging me. They're taking a look at me like, let me see what this guy's about. Let me see what he's talking about. Let me see, do I trust this guy? Does he know his stuff? Do I feel like he can coach me? And this is part of my nurture process, is to give you this show every single day. I'm selling myself to you with this show. This is part of my process. This is part of my value ladder, is giving you this material for free. My text messages, the emails that I send out. Any of you on my email list, how often do I email you? All of that's part of my nurture process, just to let you know I know what I'm doing, I know what I'm talking about, and I can help you. And I'm not charging you a dime for it. So by the time you spend money, you already know. You already know who I am. You already know what I'm about. There's no question of whether I can help you. Question is just how much, and do I want to pay that? That's the only question I want anyone asking when they get on a call with me. Those two questions: how much and do I want to pay it? That's it. Now, people who like you will only stop buying from you if you stop selling them things. So once someone's in your world and they've decided that they're in on you, the only time they will stop spending money is if you stop offering them ways to spend money. So for example, I have an Amazon Prime membership. It costs, I forget how much they raised the price to. They just raised the price just this last year. I'd already renewed mine, but then they sent the email like a month later, like, all right, but everybody's next cycle, your price is going up. I pay that every year. I pay, what else do I pay Amazon? Every time I buy a product, Amazon's getting a cut of the sales that I'm making. And the reason why I keep giving Amazon money is because Amazon keeps making me offers. And every time I want to buy something, one of the first things I think about, all right, how can Amazon take care of this? Or the reason I pay Amex for a couple of my credit cards is because there's a yearly fee, but I like the perks and benefits that I get from having that card, and I'm willing to pay the yearly fee in exchange for what I get from the cards from Amex. So it's because they keep making me offers, I'm willing to keep giving them money. But if they stop making me offers, I might take my business elsewhere. So keep in mind, just because someone has not bought something from you does not mean that you are not on their want list or their to-do list, or they're on their mind of something that they want to buy as soon as they're in a position to do so. Now, some people are planning to buy something from you and you don't even know they're planning to buy something from you. But if you stop being in front of them, they might forget to buy from you when they're finally ready to buy. So you got to stay in front of people. This is why you got to have a process. You got to have a nurture sequence in place. All of this stuff helps you stay where you need to be. So you got to stay in front of people, keep marketing to them, even though they have not yet taken action. It is a discipline, but what did we just talk about yesterday? Every discipline challenge is a structural challenge. So your discipline is not, you shouldn't be waking up every day saying to yourself, like, for example, let me help y'all, let me put some flesh to this so you understand it better. I have an email list of over 50,000 people. And how many people listen to this show? Over this year alone, over 2 million people have listened to this show. A lot of people listen to the show. Let's just say that. Because this is the place where I feel a lot of people just come in and get. This is where they get nurtured, is listening to this show. So this year, over the last 12 months, rather, not this year, the last 12 months, 2.3 million people have listened to this show. Now, I don't have 2.3 million customers. I'm on my way there, but I don't have 2.3 million yet. So this means not everybody who listens to this show has bought something from me. And not everybody who gets an email from me, 5 times a week, has bought something from me. However, I don't need to wake up every single day anxious or stressed out about the fact that there are people who listen to my show and get my emails and read my daily motivation texts who have not paid me money yet. I don't wake up stressed or worried about that. Why? Even though they should buy something from me, I don't worry about the fact they haven't bought something from me, because I don't have to think about what I'm going to do to or for or with them on a day-to-day basis, because I've set up structures and systems that continually stay in front of you on a day-to-day basis. So those emails that you get from me, if you all understood like how long my email sequences are, any of you who's been on my email list for months, weeks, years, all right, the emails just keep coming, right? That's because I sit down and I put together the structure and the process and the systems for those emails to keep coming. All right, they don't just appear out of nowhere. I write every single word. Every word that comes out of Work on Your Game is written by me. All right, no ghostwriters, no copywriters. I'm the copywriter. I'm the ghostwriter. And every word that comes out on this show is spoken by me. So I put together all this stuff. I put the structures and the systems in place so that I can continually put material out in front of you. That's part of the nurturing process. Nurturing just means me standing in front of you and giving you the game so that when you're ready to take a next step, I'm here ready to take the next step with you. So you shouldn't be, those of you who are salespeople, worried about the fact that you have this many people who know you or follow you on Instagram, but they haven't bought from you yet, because you should have a process and a system in place that is keeping you in front of those people consistently so that when they're ready to buy, you're ready to do something with them. But the system should be doing the work of staying in front of them, not you. You should do the work to put the system together, then the system does the work of staying in front of the people. You got what I'm saying here? So yes, everything that I put out is written by me. Every text message, every email, what's other stuff I put out? Every episode of this show is written or spoken and come up with and crafted by me. But I put all of this stuff into a system, and the system knows when to send you the next email. The system knows when to send you the next text. The system knows how to get this episode up on our podcasting platforms like Apple and Spotify. Now, of course, there are people behind the system, but the people are operating the system. Everybody follow what I'm saying here? You need to be doing this. That's what you need to be doing for your business. Every one of you, I don't care what you sell or what business you're in, the system should be doing the majority of the work. You program the system, but the system does the work. Is anyone unclear on anything I've said so far here? And this is especially true if you sell high ticket items, things where, when I say high ticket, different people have different definitions of what high ticket is. Let's just say, if we had to put a number to it, let's just say anything that costs $10,000 or more, and or any type of purchase where someone would have to plan it out and like think about it and put money aside before they make the purchase. All right, that's what we can call high ticket. High ticket can be different in different industries. If you sell high ticket, the reason why it's so important in high ticket is because people may need to plan ahead for making purchases from you, which means they can't make an impulse purchase. See, if you offered me a book that I think is interesting and you just asked me to cover the shipping and it's $9.95, I don't have to plan to do that. All right, do I have $9 somewhere? Okay, I'll buy the book. All right, you might even have a trashy book. I bought plenty of trashy books on impulse. I don't have to plan it. Now, if somebody asked me to get them $10,000 for a program, now that one, I either have to know or have some idea before I get on that conversation that it's going to be $10,000, so I'm ready. Or I might tell them, well, I'm going to get back to you. If I want it, then I'll go grab the $10,000 and I'll pay it. But I got to think about that one. I don't have to think about $10. I got to think about $10,000. So high ticket, people may take more time to make a decision. You understand? So they might know about you and know you have a high ticket offering, but they might take 3 months before they actually come around to talking to you about it, because they know that they got to put that money aside. But if it's $10, nobody has to think about that. Well, most people don't have to think about that. So many people don't simply have that kind of money, high ticket money, laying around just trying to figure out, what do I do with this money? I got all this money, I don't know what to do with it. Somebody make me an offer of $10,000 so I can get us away. Most people aren't thinking that way. So if you're in the high ticket space, you got to understand the sales cycle. Sales cycle is how long does it take from the time you initiate contact with the person to the time they actually make a decision. It is much longer than when you're selling low ticket stuff. Is everybody with me? So because of that, you have to stay in the game, you have to stay active, you have to stay in front of people until they are ready to take action. And they're usually not ready at the same time that you're ready. You're probably ready right now, right? Somebody wanted to offer you 10 grand right now, would you take it? Of course you would. But they may not be ready at the same time that you're ready. So you got to stay in the game until they're ready. That's why it's important to keep your pipeline full and always be bringing new blood and new eyeballs into your world. We call this lead generation. This is another part of your system. This is part of your system to generate leads. So one of the things that I do to generate leads, I mentioned advertising. Another thing I do to generate leads is I appear on other people's platforms. So I have my own show, this masterclass / podcast, but also some of you who are listening to this right now, you heard of me because I was on somebody else's platform. And guess how I get on other people's platforms? Can anybody guess? Is one word. You should know, everybody should know what this word is because I keep saying it. I've said it a bunch of times already here today. System. I have a system for getting on other people's platforms. It's part of my business model to get on other people's platforms. That does not randomly happen. I'm not some random famous guy. It's not like my phone is ringing off the hook with other people trying to get me on their platforms. I don't have a TV show. I go to other people's platforms because I have a system for reaching out to other people and selling myself to get on their platforms. There's a process to that. I talked about that in episode 17. I believe it was 1735. Let me make sure that's right. Maybe it was 1835. 1835, the 3 marketing traffic strategies and how to use each. Go listen to that episode and I clue you in onto how I do that. I don't tell you exactly how I do it. I might have to sell you that solution, but I do clue you in onto the idea around how I do it. That's episode 1835. So with all that said, let's recap today's class, which is the only 3 ways to increase revenue in your business. And anybody who's in business, I mean, you're in business because you want to make money, right? So let's talk about how to do it. Number 1, get more people. In other words, obtain more customers. This is the simplest and most basic way to make more money, but it's also the hardest because you're trying to get people to make a buying decision, and that is not as easy as it sounds. The jump from $0 to $1 is the biggest jump anyone makes in business. Point number 2, get people to spend more money. In other words, raise your prices. This is a money mindset issue. This is not an amount of money issue. It's a mindset issue. When you get your mind right around money, it will be easier to get more money out of other people. But if your mind is not right about money, you will struggle to get more money out of people. Actually, you'll struggle to even ask for more money out of people if your mind is not right about money. And by the way, it is easier to make one $10,000 sale than it is to make 1,000 $10 sales. This is why you got to get your mind right around money. Point number 3, get people to buy from you more often. This usually means just making more offers to the people who have already bought from you. In other words, somebody bought something from you 3 weeks ago. You should be making them more offers to buy something from you now, because a customer who has already bought from you is the one who is most likely to buy from you again. The easiest dollar to get is the second dollar, meaning they bought from you once, you get them to buy from you again. That's the easiest dollar to get. The first dollar is the hardest, the second dollar is the easiest. So that's why you need to make more offers to people so that they can buy from you more often. And even if you only have one product, one thing you can do something like affiliate marketing. So if I only have one product, I could send you to someone else who I know, like, and trust. They have a product and I get a piece of that sale because I sent you, the customer, to them as a salesperson. So you don't have to create more products. You could just use other people's stuff if you don't have your own. And keep in mind that you got to stay in the game. You got to stay in front of people. You have to have a system that continually nurtures your prospects / customers / audience, such that when they are ready to buy, you are top of mind to them because you have stayed in front of them. Don't bail out on a person just because they haven't bought from you yet. They may be planning to buy from you, they just haven't saved up the money yet, or they're not done doing other things they're doing yet. Maybe they got to finish the last thing they signed up for before they sign up with your thing. So don't bail out on people. You have to have a system in place so that you stay in front of people, and this is all things that you can put together. This is all infrastructure you can put together in your business. Now, with all that said, let me tell you how I can help you with these things. First of all, text me to get my daily motivation free of charge to your phone every morning. My number is 305-384-6894. And secondly, go to workonyourgame.net where you can access to my free training where I talk about the 5 keys to easily increase the income in your business without running yourself into the pavement in the process, even if you feel like you're running yourself into the pavement already and you want to make more money in your business, which we all do. All right, how can you do it? I'm gonna tell you the 5 steps that I coach people through to doing this. And at the end of that training, there will be a link that comes up that gives you the options of scheduling a call with me directly, and we can talk about how to implement this stuff into your business working directly with me. That is at workonyourgame.net. Work on your game. Dre all day.